Hey everyone, welcome to That Pedal Show. Dan here.
Mick here. Hello, welcome. Well, we don't do this very often.
No, we don't. We don't.
Every now and again, we just hammer through a bunch of new stuff, and we don't do it that often for various reasons. We thought, well, why not? It's been a while. It's called That Pedal Show. Let's actually talk about some pedals for a change.
Heaven forfend.
But first, some housekeeping.
Indeed. First of all, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It's really easy. Just click the button, subscribe. That'd be great. Also, a massive thank you to anyone that's gone to thatpedalshowstore.com and grabbed some merch. We've got some new T-shirts in stock. Check out this lovely thing.
Indeed, it's not. Yeah, please. If you're in the US, please go to thatpedalshop.com if you fancy picking something up, a pedal or an amp or an accessory or something like that. Thatpedalshop.com in the US.
Indeed. Okay, let's crack on. Right. Shall we go from... I'll tell you what. Let's go from right to left, make it really simple. Maestro, a brand that Gibson started back in, man, when was it? Like some of the earliest effects, the FZ1 was Maestro.
That's the important one. Is Maestro, is it? I would say Maestro.
Oh, sorry, of course, yep.
You say Maestro, I say Maestro. Yeah, Maestro then. So Gibson has, well, under the ownership of Gibson, the brand has been resurrected. And I think I'm right in saying there's maybe 5 or 6 pedals in the lineup. Obviously, the one that we're most interested in is the Fuzz because of the FZ1. Interestingly enough, the FZ1 is a pretty, can we say dreadful sounding thing, Dan?
I don't think it's too far off to say dreadful sounding thing. The FZ1A. So, if anyone that doesn't know, the sound of the Satisfaction riff is the FZ1A, and it was the first time that, I mean, Fuzz had been recorded before, but it was the first time really in a hit single, people had heard it and gone, oh my goodness, what is that? It was heavily modified, and from that we get the tone bender and the fuzz face and all that sort of stuff. But
it started the whole thing.
It did. It started the whole thing.
So its place in history is supremely important. And then Maestro, also famous for their phases down the years. What's happened now is the pedals in a sort of more recognisable form factor. There's a fuzz, there's a delay, which we'll do these together because we can use the delay throughout the whole show.
I got a bit grumpy when I saw these.
I did too.
I must say, because Maestro to me is a very important brand, and I've got some of their old stuff, and it's magic, and I saw them and I just thought, oh no. However, I think they actually look fantastic. The reality is I can't get my Maestro MP1 phaser on my board because it's ridiculous and massive, as good as it sounds. So, it's one thing to re-release a brand and try and make it authentic and everything. However, if you do it to get over some of the issues that they had, one of them being real estate, and I actually think they look fantastic. Look,
they do.
Check
they
out
really
the LEDs.
do.
Look at this. So little Maestro trumpets, and I think that looks fantastic.
Yeah, it does. The styling is great. It's unique.
Yep.
It's kind of modern retro, isn't it? All right, let's hear it then. Amps today are Fender 65 Deluxe Reverb reissue and a Supro Black Magic 112 with no reverb.
Great.
So fairly straight up amps.
Yep. We've got 2 modes on here, modern and classic. Shall we start with classic?
Let's do that.
So this is the sound of the original.
Let's hear the amps then, Daniel.
just say, so the original FZ1A didn't have a tone control.
No.
That tone control is fantastic. What a difference it makes.
Before we hit the modern mode, then let's see how it cleans up.
Oh, man.
That's killer.
That is killer.
That's really killer.
That tone control is super powerful. I love the two modes.
You could just note where the settings are set currently down. If you're new to that pedal show, we have a long belief that all pedals sound best with everything set at 2 o'clock.
Indeed.
Or at least I do.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I always thought that, okay, they're going to get the circuit right. It's going to sound great. But it has the sound of the FZ1 in there, but it's so much more flexible with that tone control. Love it. It's great.
Without an FZ1A here to test, it's very hard to say that, I think.
Okay.
Because I think my memories of the FZ1A are that it's way angrier than that and has far less bass, even in the classic mode.
Okay, we'll have to get.
Yeah.
There's one floating around. I'll grab it and yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah,
we'll
okay.
see.
I think it's really cool.
Killer. Okay,
Well
well
done.
we introduced the discovery delay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Discover delay.
Discoverer.
Discoverer.
Indeed.
Okay.
I've forgotten the R.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Discoverer delay. So all analog.
All analog.
We think up to 600 milliseconds.
Yes. No, it is definitely analog.
Built-in modulation, and as you heard, we've got it currently set on a bit of a slapback sound, so that would be this sort of noise.
Isn't it nice?
Not much wrong with that. Have
No.
a play then. We'll up the delay time and just see where we get to. Dan tends to like his analog delays just set on the point of oscillation. So keep going, keep going.
Sounds like me when my laugh dies off. I just end up.
That sounds great.
I think it sounds beautiful.
Normally we would bemoan the lack of a tone control on the repeats, but you kind of don't need it on an analog delay.
That's the sound. That's the sound.
The modulation is internally adjustable for rate and depth, which is like the carbon copy. It's a bit of a pain, but actually once you get it there,
You're fine.
you're fine. Would be kind of nice to have it on the top panel, but it sounds killer. We'll come back to that as we try the other pedals, because a little bit of delay on some of the other sounds would be nice.
Okay.
Seems whenever we get a simple analog delay, we always really like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Nice. All right. Tilt Overdrive then from REVV. This is signature pedal of Sean Tubbs, were you telling me?
Indeed. So Sean Tubbs, a phenomenal guitar player, has a great YouTube channel that does great demos, and he's the guy when I want to watch a demo. If Sean Tubbs has done a demo of it, he's the guy I go to.
Yeah, which is a sideline in Sean's life, by the way, because he's like a super busy Nashville session
guy.
Player.
Yeah. I mean, he's a force.
Giant gigs. He is crazy good guitar player. So what happens when a crazy good guitar player designs an overdrive pedal then, Daniel?
Indeed.
Two sides. Boost comes first. Then we have a drive section. The drive looks fairly straightforward enough. Gain, volume, bass and treble. But the boost has got some interesting features on it.
Indeed.
Shall we start with the overdrive, Daniel?
Indeed.
I may
There you go.
Get a more familiar guitar.
Okay.
Well, we'll start here and I'll get something a bit more familiar in a sec.
Okay.
Sounds like the beginning of a Beatles record. Feedback may be an issue, so we'll just grab another guitar.
Okay.
Sounds awesome, but just let's get us in the right place. Oh dear.
Oh heavens.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Wicked.
Have a play down. I'm running out. Let's explore some of these controls on the boost side then. So you've got the boost is self-explanatory enough, right? It's just the amount of boost.
Yep.
The tilt control is an interesting EQ control.
Indeed.
Which we think more to the left rolls off bass and adds treble.
Yes.
Which is really useful as you up the gain. The switch is a 3-way bass cut switch.
Yes.
Let's see if we can understand a bit of that.
Okay.
Actually, turn the drive off just for a sec. We'll just listen to the boost.
Wow.
Very nice sounding boost. Plenty of boost on. That's going to push the front of an overdriving amp. It's just going to give you a volume lift if the amp isn't overdriving. Very nice indeed. I think we have it more or less in its most neutral position at the moment.
Right.
I think I'm right in saying that the most kind of normal EQ, i.e. not tilted, is with it at about 2 o'clock.
Right.
2, 3 o'clock, something like that. And then we've got no bass cut going on the switch.
Right.
What's interesting about that is when you add it to the overdrive, I suppose.
Absolutely, because the boost section goes in front of the overdrive. So it will increase the signal going into the overdrive, and that will give us more gain. So I guess it's designed to work in conjunction with the overdrive side of things. It might be that you have less gain in the overdrive, and that boost will give you a lift, or it'll saturate the overdrive more.
Yeah, so here's what happens if you put a full range booster with loads of bottom end into the front of an already fat and thick overdrive, okay? So that kind of explains whenever, well, anyone talks about boosts, but whenever we talk about boosts, we always talk about having some attenuation on the bottom end there.
Yep.
To just tighten it up and make it nice and clear, because if you have too much bass, it's overdriving everything and it's a bit sludgy, which might be what you want, but it might not be. Now, in addition to that, we've also got the bass roll-off, and I guess this is where we get into treble booster territory, is it?
Absolutely.
Keep going then, Daniel, seeing as you were enjoying that so much.
Indeed.
And if we do that with humbuckers.
Nice work, buddy. It's really awesome.
You can imagine. So both of these guitars, even though this is a humbucker loaded Les Paul, it's still a fairly bright sounding guitar.
Yeah.
You can imagine once you get into 335 territory, or, you know, guitars with darker sounding humbuckers, being able to scoop out that bottom end. And it's not just, to me, it doesn't sound as simple as just turning the bass down. It's cleverer than that. It's adding a top end as well when you turn that tilt control back. And the combination of the two, you know, depending on how clear you like it or how sludgy you want it. Very nice indeed.
I really like it. It's unique.
Yeah, I mean, no surprise. Combination of Rev and Sean.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah,
really great.
I could happily use that.
Yeah, amazing.
Nice.
Very good.
Where we go next then, Danny boy?
Let's go to the Cogmeister.
Right.
Dan Coggins. Now, you may know Dan from his work with Thorpe, but before Thorpe, Dan was already a legend. So Dan designed the Love Tone pedals. You might remember the Big Cheese and the Doppelganger and all, you know, and the
Brown Sauce.
You know, some wonderful things. Dan also has his own company called Dinosaural, and you know, he's been very busy, so it's been a bit quiet. But I've been a fan of Dan's for ages, and I've got all of his old stuff. And he released this in limited numbers. There's more coming, but this is the Cogmeister, and it is a 3-in-1 gain staging marvel.
Nice. We often talk about how nice it is to have multiple well, multiple gain stages stacked, but specifically multiple lower gain stages. Is this that, or is there more of everything?
I know this is that. You can. The range on them is quite wide. However, all the circuits are designed to work together.
Cool.
It's all centered around this center drive section here. It's actually a Dan Cogmeister pedal called the Tube Bender. And actual
Oh, yeah.
It's this one. And it's based around his Tube Bender. But he's modified it, made it a bit different. So
he's bent it.
He's bent it. He's bent his bender.
Moving on.
But it's a seriously fabulous sounding thing.
There is somebody who knows guitar tone.
Hello.
Right there.
Yep.
Those two dips, one lower, one more slightly up from there. That is the archetypal mid scoop.
Yeah.
That one there.
Yep.
And then there's a bass roll off in the bottom.
Yep.
Keep going. That is absolutely brilliant.
Isn't it great? I think I've always loved his pedals. This is my favourite thing he's done.
To me, that is a masterclass
in gain staging.
In learning about gain staging.
Yeah.
So you've got your, as Dan said, you've got your, I've never heard it before. I've seen it, but I've never heard it. Certainly never plugged into it. You've got your core overdrive right in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
You can then boost that from the front with the push section. And given that you've got the bass end roll off, everything we discussed about what was going on in the tilt and everything we've ever discussed about what's going on in a treble booster, you can roll that bottom end off, so you basically get a treble booster.
Yep.
Or any point in between to full bass. After that, there is a mid-humped boost at the end, and that peak presumably is pushing a mid-hump.
Yeah, it's a FET booster that will go into asymmetrical clipping when you drive it really hard, and it's just.
But it's definitely got that chewier upper mid
yeah,
thing.
Yeah.
If I just let's hear it with the Les Paul. Let's hear it with the Les Paul.
Yeah.
I want to try a Strat because I think that booster on a Strat's going to be
magic.
Really magic.
Isn't it great? Yeah, he's nailed it.
Everything's right where it should be.
Yeah,
for my ears, everything's right where it should be.
Yeah.
What I'm interested here is what that solo boost does.
Yeah, to the
especially in the positions 2 and 4, because it seems like it's got a nice mid hump there, right where I would personally want it.
Okay.
On a Strat. Let's have a look.
Isn't it good? Well done, Dan.
And of course, with due deferential respect to Dan, he's not going to flip and build that many of them, is he?
Oh, he's going to do a few.
Can he?
Yeah, he's going to do a few.
It's always the way, isn't it? The kind of tweaky hand-built stuff that is built in small numbers is all the stuff that makes me go, yeah! And it's not even, I don't think there's even any motivated cognition in that, because I've never owned any of his stuff or kind of fallen in love with it before.
Yeah.
So it's not like, that is so good.
Yeah, I know. No, it's killer.
That is really, really nice. Just particularly for my personal tastes, where each of the tone stacks sit and the kind of gain you've got on there.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Yeah.
Really nice. Sublime to the sublime then.
Indeed.
Let's have a look at NRG. Neil Grimes. If you don't know who Neil Grimes is, we often talk about Marcus Reeves a lot with the beauty of his point-to-point hand wiring. I think it's really important to mention Neil in that same conversation.
I agree completely.
Neil's been doing it a long time now, and if you hit the NRG Effects website, it was you first brought in the pedal with a picture of the cat on it.
Yes. The purrer.
Funnily enough. Is it up there somewhere?
It's around.
Anyway,
might be next
there
door.
it is.
There it is.
Up in the back corner.
There you go.
And that's how we first got to know Neil's stuff. And since then, he has done a bunch of stuff. These sort of hand-painted enclosures, really funky. He then went off down a path of the kind of monochrome look.
Yeah.
Which is where we pick up with the Mauler here and sort of small-sized pedals, but still beautifully point-to-point hand-wired.
Yeah.
Very nice.
His stuff is amazing.
Boosters and things like that. Anyway, so Mauler is new. It's a fuzz.
It is.
This is one of those pedals where I normally throw my head in my hands and say, why can't they just call the controls what they are? Because we have loud. Good. Understand that.
Yeah.
Jaws.
Okay.
Which is a bias control.
Right.
The fuzz level is set internally. The jaws is a bias control. Maul, which we will get onto.
Okay.
And then meat and fur are tone controls, right?
Yeah, they're different positions for bottom end and top end shenanigans.
Fuzz eye up then, landlord.
Fuzz it up.
Go for it. I do love a bias control on a fuzz pedal.
Beautiful. Now, the pedal also has one other really cool trick up its sleeve.
Go for it. You see I have everything set on 2 o'clock here.
As where it should be.
be loud. Yes. Instant oscillation.
It's the instant oscillation. Yeah, it's really great.
That's killer.
Yeah,
that's really good. I guess you probably need to spend a bit of time with that to just discover where it's going to work for you.
Yeah, and every guitar will be different. Every pickup will be different.
Yeah.
But like all of his stuff, it sounds wonderful. It's a really great fuzz. You've got all these traditional fuzz sounds in there, but then you've got
the extra bits.
Extra bits. It's a really great thing.
Just before we move on, I just want to I love the kind of where you starve the voltage, you turn the bias right down and you get that kind of spitty thing. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to see what the cleanup's like when you turn it up a bit. I quite like this setting on the meat thing. Bit woollier.
Killer.
Nice.
Yeah.
It cleans up more like an overdrive pedal, actually.
Yes. Yeah.
So
I wonder what the impedances are, but no, it's just, man.
Very nice. Nice one, Neil.
Well
that
done,
sounds
buddy.
really killer.
Well done.
I don't know what the transistor is. I guess you can find out all of that on transistors. You can find out all of that on Neil's website.
Yep.
Okay.
Transistors.com.
Let us leap off then, Daniel.
Indeed.
UA released some pedals this week. You'll recognise the form factor, UA being Universal Audio. You'll recognise the form factor from the Starlight Echo, the Astra modulation machine, and the whatever the reverb's called. Same box, but what we've got actually is 3 different amplifier simulations. Ruby being a bunch of Voxes. Mm-hmm. There's one called Dream, I think, which is some Fender amps, and you can see that in a video we're about to shoot, and that will be out in a week or two's time. And one other, which escapes me.
The Tweedy type one.
Oh yeah, 55 Tweed. Actually, it might be that one we'll do.
Okay.
Rewind to the top of the show where Dan and I were a bit grumpy about the new Maestro pedals because
we want boxes which are ridiculous.
Crap.
No one else in the world wants it like that.
We are no longer grumpy about
them. And we're converted, by the way. They're amazing.
Not that any of the above matters, but it's just an opinion. Anyway, we always shudder a bit when it comes to amp simulation, especially digital amp modelling. Now, we know that it rules the world. We know that loads of pro players use it. We know it's used in studios up and down the land. We get all that. We get that it is mainstream, and we get that loads of people love it. We don't love it.
Right. And that's okay.
And that's okay. It's okay. So we're like, should we just not do this? Or should we see what we can find? And I think we decided we would see what we can find. Just to see. So what you're not going to hear are any direct tones. We've done that before.
We have.
We don't like it. It's not our bag. If you want to go and listen to great direct tones, there are many, many other YouTube channels out there that do it far better than we ever can.
Yeah.
What we do is turn amps up really loud and mic them up.
Yep.
And we're fairly unique in that. So let's see what the Ruby can offer us then.
Indeed.
Now, as if it wasn't bad enough already, app.
Yeah.
All I'm going to say is I followed their instructions,
Yes.
and so far it worked.
Indeed.
So here,
Yeah. The UI stuff from Universal Audios and the user interface, like when we had the aux, I thought the user interface for that with the iPad was just spectacular.
spectacularly good. Yeah.
So good. So easy to use. And I think they're carrying on that sort of UI with these pedals.
Yeah, because for a lot of people, that sort of functionality, smartphone app control is completely normal, isn't it? It's totally normalized for most humans in most aspects of our lives now.
Indeed.
Our UPS driver, Nick, was telling us that he has a washing machine which he controls from an app on his phone.
Call his wife.
Oh, mate.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, everything's got an app. Let's forget the app for a second. We'll plug in. So the Ruby is based on various classic era Vox AC30 type amps. And in that, you get 3 amp types. Top boost, do you?
Must be.
No, you get 1 amp type. You get the brilliant channel, the normal channel, and the vibrato channel.
Oh, the brilliant channel is the channel from the top boost.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
And there's going to be loads of other stuff in the app. Blah, blah, blah. You get a whole bunch of different speaker simulations. Now, we will hear those kind of through these amps, but you don't really want a speaker simulation on when you're going through a guitar amp, so we'll turn those off for the most part.
Sure.
And then a bunch of other features. Dan.
Okay.
In parts of Voxy character,
Sure.
we are finding the high end challenging,
Indeed.
fair to say.
Yep.
That being a key characteristic of a cranked Vox amp, but definitely you're hearing it into a deluxe reverb and the Supro. neither of which have any sort of voxiness about them whatsoever. And it does impart a voxy character.
Sure.
You heard crank the top boost, crank the input gain there, clean or whatever. Now, interestingly, you can then go into the vibrato channel and invoke the vibrato. We'll do that. And then in addition, what I'll do is I'll switch on a speaker simulation mode and let you hear what there is included room reverb in it, which I think is an absolutely killer addition. Cool. So let's hit the vibrato channel. I think that's quite enough of that.
Sounds like the world's best pog.
This is a new acquisition.
Tracks so well.
It's tuned down to D for a specific purpose. There's a vlog about it. Anyway, I thought Vox 12 string.
Yeah, very cool.
What a yeah. Well, anyway, yeah. What do you think then? Does it sound like a Vox?
I can see that it would be useful in some situations. Absolutely.
Yeah. Works okay as a stomp box. The question around the whole series is, well, you know, amp modeling tech exists in many products and you get many, many more
Sure.
bang for buck. So it'll be interesting. What I like about it is I really love the room reverb.
Yeah.
I think the vibrato is really cool. You can get it overdriving quite nicely, and it would be interesting to hear it direct for those people who do that. But
Yeah.
Just an interesting direction from UA, I think.
Yeah. No, it's very cool. I mean, they're so good at, you know, with their plugins and everything. And you look at what they do with, you know, I've got the Space Echo plugin that I use all the time. I think it sounds fantastic. They're really good at that stuff. So yeah, I can see how that would be a next step for them.
Yeah.
Stereo in, stereo out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stereo in, stereo out. Does that mean you can have 2 instances of the amp, do we think?
I don't think so.
Check out on the UA website. You'll be able to learn more about that. Okay. Good showing.
Yeah. It's really impressive. I am heartened by the Maestro pedals.
Yep. Me
Genuinely heartened by them.
Yeah.
Well done, Gibson. They're great. Massive well done to Sean Tubbs on the tilt and the guys at REVV. It's really lovely. I bow in deference at the genius that is Dan Coggins. Wow.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Really good. A nice one, Neil, on the Mauler.
Ah, it's wonderful.
Well, let's play us out then, Dan. Okay, thanks for watching. Please hit up that pedalshowstore.com if you want to pick up some merch, t-shirts and all of that kind of stuff. It's the primary way in which we fund this show. Also, check out that pedalshop.com in the US if you are in the US for any gear you might want to pick up.
Indeed. A massive thank you to our patrons on Patreon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We've got some monthly giveaways happening for our patrons, and also we're also doing the podcasts of our Monday afternoon VCQs.
Chatting.
Mucho lovely.
Chatting.
Indeed. Massive thank you to our preferred retailers in the UK and Europe is
Anderton's Music of Guildford and Surrey, where you can buy a good smattering of this stuff.
Indeed. And also our mates in Australia.
Pedal Empire of Brisbane and Queensland.
Lovely.
Ace. Dan, play us out. We'll see you next time.
Indeed.